teacher who made out with 11-year-old Sobs as she gets locked up. That's crazy. I mean, I'm glad that females who are in that age end up receiving the exact same treatment as the guys who end up doing this type of shit to kids as well, end up getting the exact same punishment. Like it's a good thing though. But at the same time, I got a lot of hot teachers back in my days when I was coming up. What the fuck were these teachers at when I needed that?
So we're here today for a
I wasn't gonna tell nobody.
Is that still the plan?
That is your honor.
We have followed Madison Bergman's case through every step of the legal process, from the initial reporting that she'd sexually assaulted an 11-year-old child to the tacking on of more and more charges to revelations of just how deep her obsession with a 5th grade student went. Well, now, after initial denials, she has changed her plea, agreeing to admit her guilt to multiple heinous sex crimes. We're taking a closer look at the biggest moments from her plea hearing, plus charges that a fellow teacher at the same school is still facing. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Madison Bergman is a name you probably recognize if you follow us here on Sidebar.
No.
She resigned from Riverside Elementary School in St. Croix County, Wisconsin in May of 2024 after the victim's parents brought printed screenshots of some of the texts between their 11-year-old son and his teacher to the school. And by the way, Bergman was actually engaged to be married at the time. Now that engagement was quickly called off when messages like these came to light. Victim,
I'm not trying to make fun of the situation, but there's something's definitely going on if your girl end up cheating on you with a little kid, which is still bad either way. She probably I don't know what they got going on. I don't even know them personally, obviously. He seemed like a good dude, but I don't know. Who knows? But that's kind of crazy for your girl to get. It's kind of crazy for your ex fiance cheating on you with a kid. That's crazy.
Haha, bro, I just want to make out with you. Bergman, I do too, like all the time. Bergman, also today when you said I know you're mad, but I want to kiss you. Oh my gosh, I wanted to grab your face and just push you to the floor and make out with you.
Bruh.
Victim, ha ha ha, for real. I love to kiss you on the ground too, ha ha ha. Bergman, I almost kissed you when you were on the ground today, but I got distracted by your stomach. Talking stomach, it's stomach churning to say the least. Well, these texts were apparently in reference to the first time that Bergman had intimate contact with this child, this boy. According to a criminal complaint, quote, when the other kids left the classroom, she approached him and kissed him on the mouth. He described himself as sitting on the ground immediately after the kiss, as he couldn't believe that it happened and the fact that it was his first kiss. He then got up, gave Bergman a hug, and left the classroom to catch the school bus. You know, we talk about it a lot, but think about
she could at least gave this little motherfucker a ride home after all of that.
That something like this is going to have on a child as he grows up, as he matures. Talk about it all the time, particularly when I have on Chris Hansen. This is a problem. This is really, really, really disgusting stuff.
Let's be real. If you have a hot teacher like that back in the days and you were at that age, you would probably be happy as hell. Let's be real. I know for a fact, there was one teacher that I have a crush on back in the days when I was in middle school. And I really wanted her so bad. And it's like, how come I can't receive the damn same, how come I can't receive the treatment? The same exact treatment. Like, seriously.
Now, you got to get this. A school resource officer testified during a preliminary hearing last year that Bergman and this 11-year-old shared more than 30,000 messages with each other.
Damn.
The victim admitted that he and Bergman had kissed several times, touched each other in class in a way that no one would see. The victim also told the officer about love letters and drawings that he and Bergman would write to each other. He said that Bergman kept all of the sheets of papers in folders, and these folders were apparently found in Bergman's backpack in her classroom. In one of those letters, Bergman allegedly wrote, "One of my cousins is in the 5th grade, and I can't imagine a man talking to her how we talk. I know we have a special relationship and I do love you more than anyone in the world, but I have to be the adult here and stop. So despite that apparent acknowledgement that her actions were wrong, the inappropriate conduct seemingly continued. At first, Bergman was charged with just one count of sexual contact with a child under age 13.
Am I hearing this right?
And I can't imagine a man talking to her how we talk. My cousin in her classroom. In one of those letters, the victim also told the officer about love letters and drawings that he and Bergman would write to each other. He said that Bergman kept all of the sheets of papers in folders, and these folders were apparently found in Bergman's backpack in her classroom. In one of those letters, Bergman allegedly wrote, "One of my cousins is in the 5th grade, and I can't imagine a man talking to her how we talk. I know we have a special relationship, and I do love you more than anyone in the world, but I have to be the adult here and stop." So despite
being an adult, motherfucker, you too damn young. You're still a kid, actually. How you gonna be an adult? You're a fucking kid.
that apparent acknowledgement that her actions were wrong, the inappropriate conduct seemingly continued. At first, Bergman was charged with just one count of sexual contact with a child under age 13. It's a first-degree child sexual assault charge. But then there was an amended, in the 5th grade, that Bergman and this 11-year-old shared more than 30,000 messages with each other. The victim admitted that he and Bergman had kissed several times, touched each other in class in a way that no one would see. The victim also told the officer about love letters and drawings that he and Bergman would write to each other. He said that Bergman kept all of the sheets of papers in folders, and these folders were apparently found in Bergman's backpack in her classroom. In one of those letters, Bergman allegedly wrote, "One of my cousins is in the 5th grade, and I can't imagine a man talking to her how we talk. I know we have a special relationship, and I do love you more than anyone in the world, but I have to be the adult here and stop."
Oh. But still, it's not, I mean, she might be an adult, but at the end of the day, it's like you still continue on doing it. And you're acting more like a kid than an adult by you doing this shit. If you acknowledge that what you did was wrong, then you could at least stop. But yet you still continue on doing it. But yeah, like, at least like she get the punishment that the exact same punishment that a guy usually gets when it comes to that guy doing the exact same thing to little children, but mostly to girls and whatnot. But yet still.
So despite that apparent acknowledgement that her actions were wrong, the inappropriate conduct seemingly continued. At first, Bergman was charged with just one count of sexual contact with a child under age 13. It's a first-degree child sexual assault charge. But then there was an amended complaint, and it added another 9 charges, including charges like use of a computer to facilitate a child sex crime, sexual misconduct by school staff or volunteer, child enticement, which, by the way, has a modifier requiring lifetime supervision of the defendant as a serious sex offender. But now we go to the latest. We go to Monday, September 29th, and that is when Madison Bergman, who had been out on bail, was in court to accept the plea deal. By the way, if you're a fan of Sidebar, if you're a fan of Law and Crime, you might be wondering, how is it that they're able to share so many clips with our followers from inside the courtrooms of our hottest trials? Well, I'll tell you what, let you in on a little secret. We use
don't give a fuck about that.
Best if you're
if your roof is pushing 20 years,
right when
your
I end up,
insurance is not a good backup plan.
I was about to get up
They
to the
cover
clip, the damn
sudden
ad
wind
came
or
up.
hail.
Go to opus.pro/sidebar to start creating your own videos today.
Ms. Bergman is going to enter pleas of guilty to count 3, child enticement. There is a lifetime supervision of serious sex offenders, enhancer on that at this time. She's also admitting to that. Count 6, sexual misconduct by school staff, and count 8, sexual misconduct by school staff. Based on those pleas, the state is moving to dismiss but read in all of the other counts for purposes of sentencing. We are jointly recommending a PSI be done, and the state is to cap their in-custody recommendation at 12 years at the time of sentencing.
Ms. Bergman, do you understand what's proposed?
I do.
Would you stand up, raise your right hand, and be sworn by the clerk?
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You're gonna have to speak up.
Yes.
Okay, have a seat. Thank you. Bring that microphone up close to you so that way I can hear you and everyone else can, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. So first of all, with regard to counts 3, 6, and 8 in the amended information, which are child enticement with lifetime supervision of serious sex offenders, sexual misconduct by school or staff or volunteer, and sexual misconduct by school staff or volunteer. They are Class D and Class I felonies, the latter two. What is your plea today?
Guilty.
All right. In order for the court to consider whether to accept your guilty plea, I need to ask you some questions. So first of all, did you complete this plea questionnaire and waiver of rights with your lawyer?
I did.
And is this your signature and your lawyer's signature on the second page?
It is.
Now, did you have a chance to talk to Mr. Tamburino about the plea questionnaire?
Yes.
Did you get all your questions answered?
I did.
So the judge walks her through the questionnaire to make sure that everything is correct.
Are you currently receiving any treatment for a mental illness or disorder?
No.
Have you had any alcohol, medication, or drugs in the last 24 hours?
Yes.
And what have you had?
I've had my prescribed medication.
Okay, and are you taking it according to the prescription?
Yes.
Is there anything about that medication that you know of that would affect your ability to understand what we're doing here in court today?
No, Your
All right.
Yeah, the judge wanted to make sure that Bergman knew that by pleading guilty, she was giving up certain rights, the right to confront witnesses, the right to present her own evidence. Bergman agreed that she understood. And the judge went through what the state would have to prove in order to get a conviction on the charges she faced if she had gone to trial.
Next thing we need to talk about are the elements of these particular crimes. And we'll start with child enticement, which is count 3.
Okay.
Now here's why we're doing this, amongst other reasons. One of the reasons, though, is you're offering a guilty plea on all 3 of these charges. And you're giving up the right to have a trial and make the state prove up each of these elements. So
That's crazy.
I want you to know what it is exactly they would have to prove if we did go to trial.
I know I said earlier that I really wish like that would have happened to me if I would have had a hot teacher and whatnot at that time or whatnot. But at the same, I know I said that earlier, but in all fairness, like why can't people just at least date someone that's like that is of age, like 18 or older and whatnot? Like age don't really mean a damn thing unless you're under like 18, or unless you're under 17 or younger and whatnot. If you're not of age, then that's unacceptable. But if you of age, like if you're like over 18, yeah, that's acceptable. Age shouldn't matter and whatnot. But if you are underage, that's really not acceptable. Like, what is the problem with dating someone that is an adult, or at least around your age gap? Like, cause this right there, like sleeping and ended up just going out with kids that's underage is pretty nasty. It's predatory. Just like females, they could be predators too, just as much as males.
Since you're giving up that opportunity, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, with regard to child enticement, the state would have to prove that you attempted to cause a person to go into a secluded place, that the person was under the age of 18 years, you attempted to cause the person to go into the secluded place with intent to have sexual contact with a child in violation of Wisconsin Statute 94802. In addition, because the allegation is this is an attempt rather than a completed act, the state would also have to establish that that you intended to cause the person to go into the secluded place for the purposes of committing one of the listed crimes, and I've stated the one that was alleged by the state. The defendant did acts that demonstrate unequivocally, under all of the circumstances, that she had formed that intent, and that the defendant did the acts that demonstrate unequivocally, under all of the circumstances, that he or she would commit the crime, except for, in this case, there's the intervention of another person or some other extraneous factor. So those are all the elements of this particular crime. And there's one more, and that would be that it has to have occurred in St. Croix County. So, counsel, have we got that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
That's correct.
All right. So, do you understand all of the elements of the child enticement crime that I've just described?
Yes.
Now, the next two charges are identical in terms of the charge, but they allege, as I understand it, differing dates.
Different date, Your Honor.
Okay. So let's go through. I'm going to go through the elements in general, and then we'll just specify the dates so you're clear on that. So first of all, this is sexual misconduct against a pupil by a school staff member under 948.098. The first thing that the state would have to prove in connection with these two charges is that on the specified date, you were a school staff member at, in this case, Rivercrest Elementary School. On the specified date, the victim was enrolled at Rivercrest Elementary School as a pupil. And third, you committed an act of sexual misconduct against the victim. Now, sexual misconduct under the statute means verbal conduct of a sexual nature or physical contact of a sexual nature. The allegation here is verbal.
Correct, Your Honor.
Correct?
Correct.
Verbal conduct of a sexual nature means communications made intentionally for the purpose of, and in this case, I'm assuming to facilitate the crime under 948.02. It wasn't specified.
Correct, Your Honor, for sexual, the intent for sexual contact.
Okay. Now, the last thing I want to mention here is the stated purpose that's referenced under the statute, for which the intentional conduct needs to be established, is for the sexual arousal or sexual gratification of the victim or yourself. Those are the two that seemed applicable to me. Is that right, counsel?
That's correct.
Correct.
And intentionally means that you acted with a mental purpose to achieve those results. So, in addition to all of that, it would have to be established this happened in St. Croix County as well. So, counsel, can we confirm, I know it's a relatively new statute, and I just want to confirm that we've got the elements correct to your satisfaction.
Satisfied.
Agreed.
And when the judge addressed what Bergman's sentence could be, that is when there was a change. Her seemingly calm, stoic demeanor began to crack. She started to tear up a little bit, dabbed at her eyes with a tissue.
The next
'Cause
thing
she's
we want
cooked.
to talk about are the penalties for these three charges.
That's what happens when you do those type of things to a little kid.
Count 3, child enticement, and I think counsel has already pointed out that that includes lifetime supervision as a serious sex offense as well. But the penalty under Class D felonies is imprisonment of up to 25 years.
Damn.
And up to $100,000 fine. Do you understand that?
Damn.
Now, with regard to the other two charges, those are Class
Shit,
I
hearing those type of penalties, yeah, that can make anybody lose their mind.
Maximum imprisonment is 3 years and 6 months and a $10,000 fine. Do you understand the penalties that would apply to each of those other 2 charges?
Yes.
Now, this is one of the most important moments, I think, in our plea colloquy.
Yeah, if you get hit with these penalty charges, if you get hit with those type of penalties and a fine, and also you being labeled as a sex offender, with you being placed on that list, shit, you're cooked all the way. You won't even have a normal life after that.
And that is, I want you to understand that regardless of what's recommended here by the attorneys, whether it be now or at a sentencing hearing later, I could still sentence you up to the maximum penalties that I've just described for those 3 crimes. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, the other charges are proposed to be dismissed and read in for purposes of sentencing. There's a total of 10 charges in the amended information, so you're offering a plea to 3, with 7 to be dismissed and read in. It's important that you understand what that means. You heard me just describe what the maximum penalties are for the 3 charges for which you've offered a plea of guilty. I can't sentence you to any greater penalty based upon the dismissed and read-in charges. All right?
Yeah.
But I can consider the circumstances surrounding those other charges as I determine what the appropriate sentence is for those 3 that you've offered your guilty plea on, within the limits of the maximum sentences that I just described. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Based upon the plea today to the child enticement charge. Mr. Tamburino points out the requirement for sex offender registration as well. That's not normally part of our plea process. It's not required to be. But you are fully aware that this particular charge requires, as mandatory lifetime sex offender registration. Is that correct?
Damn.
Yes.
That's correct.
Lifetime.
Are you fully aware and understand all those consequences of offering your plea here today in connection with those requirements?
I do, yes.
Has anyone promised you anything or threatened you in any way to make these 3 pleas?
No.
Have you had sufficient time to discuss all these matters with Mr. Tamburino?
Yes.
Do you have any more questions for him right now?
I do not.
So knowing everything you know sitting here today, and everybody you've talked to before, and all the thought process you've gone through coming here today, do you still wish to offer guilty pleas to these 3 charges?
I do.
So based upon my conversation here today with Ms. Bergman and my observations of her here in court, the court finds that the defendant has entered into her 3 pleas knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily, with a full understanding of the nature of the 3 charges, the maximum penalties that could be imposed, and the constitutional rights she's giving up. The court also finds there is a factual basis for these 3 pleas based upon the agreement of the parties, my own review of the complaint, as well as the preliminary hearing and motion process that we've undertaken already in this case. And so based upon all of those facts, the court finds there is a factual basis to support these 3 pleas. The court will accept your 3 pleas of guilty and pronounce you guilty of count three, which is child enticement, count 6, which is sexual misconduct by a school staff member or volunteer, and count 8, which is sexual misconduct by a school staff member or volunteer. The first is a Class D felony, the latter 2 are Class I felonies. The remaining 7 counts are dismissed by agreement of the parties and read in for purposes of sentencing.
And when it came time to discuss whether Bergman would be able to stay out on bond until sentencing, the state argued that she just pled guilty to 3 felonies, so it's only appropriate that she be locked up.
The court knows now that the guilty pleas have been entered, she no longer enjoys that presumption of innocence that she's enjoyed up until this point. She has pled guilty to 3 felonies here today, the highest level being a Class B felony. Also, as the court knows, according to the plea, the state will be asking for a lengthy prison sentence in this case. This is a case that's been in the public eye. It requires public protection. Ms. Bergman was in a position of power within the school district, used that to an advantage on a student, and since then, the investigations have continued, as the court know, and the case.
Don't cry now.
Other cases have
You put
remained
yourself in that
public
position
eye.
when you was fucking that little
I know
boy.
Ms. Bergman has participated in therapy at least since October.
Well, not technically
of
that,
last
but just
year.
like
She has had a year to engage
doing
in
a
that
spit
therapy.
swapping
I
match
believe
with that
she's
little
made some
kid.
Progress. According to the letter that was submitted, I don't believe much further progress can be made or be beneficial at this stage. I believe the remand is appropriate at this time, again, without that presumption of innocence, with the prison sentence that the state will be asking for. I believe it's appropriate at this time.
Bergman's defense, they argue that she's been a model defendant throughout this case.
Since the time of her initial appearance in court back in May of 2024, the bond was set. She posted the bail as well as the bond, and she's remained out of custody. She was on a GPS device, a global positioning system device, and she maintained full compliance with every aspect of her conditions of release. She never violated it one time. She and her family had separate housing for her with her grandparents to accommodate that. She kept working. She never had contact with children. She kept in contact with me constantly. So did her family. Mr. Bergman is here in court. She has had supervision like basically no other defendant through this process has had. Additionally, on her own, she sought help. Not only did she go through therapy, it's much more than that, Your Honor. As the court might know, I submitted a letter last week to the court as well as sealed documents. So what did she do? Well, first she got a full psychosexual evaluation. That's not an evaluation where someone sits down for a couple hours and they talk and take a couple of tests. That's multi hours of going through testing over several days, as well as, talking with the psychologist. And based on all of those testings, as we have submitted to the court and counsel, she is deemed not a threat to the public. She has scored very well on everything.
That don't mean shit. She the one that molested that little boy. Even after she wrote a note to him admitting that it was wrong for her to do to him, and then she wanted to call it quits. The next thing you know, she still continue on doing that. Hey, I appreciate you for the following, Omar. But yeah, anyway, it's like she still continue on doing what she's doing. It's like she deserved to get locked up for that. And who knows? She gonna probably end up doing it to another kid. I mean, she haven't learned that lesson after she claimed that it was wrong for her to be able to do to that little boy after writing that note, but she still continue on doing that. Only a matter of time that she's gonna end up doing it again. So I appreciate you for the gifted 10 kicks, bro. I really appreciate it. But yeah, who knows? She haven't learned a lesson at that time. It's only a matter of time she's gonna end up doing it again. And I'm glad that females like that receive the exact amount of punishment as the guys who are doing the exact same type of nasty shit to these little kids, because it should be equal.
Evaluation was given to Ms. Otten back in July. We have had a number of conversations about this case, at least 3 meetings, and I made it clear to the state that she wants to plead guilty to some type of counts in this case. We made that clear. She wants to resolve this matter. There is a significant amount of information that shows that she was guilty of these counts. And she has maintained that she is guilty of these counts, and that's why she did the psychosexual. After the psychosexual, she then completed a pre-sentence investigation.
The fuck is a psychosexual?
So that the pre-sentence investigator not only works with her, but as well as go through all of her family contacts. And that's clearly established that she has maintained great ties to the community and has abided by all conditions of release. On top of that, Your Honor, as this court knows, 6 months ago, the court released her from the GPS system because she had done so well on her conditions of release. She never violated one. So for the last 6 months, she's had no GPS monitoring. And on top of that, Your Honor, it's not only therapy, it's sex offender programming. She has had, I believe at the time of the pre-plea investigation was submitted or my letter, it was 39 sessions. That is a lot of sessions, Your Honor, that someone would do even before they enter a plea of guilty, even before they admit guilt, even before there is a conviction. So basically, other than the legal issue of the presumption of innocence not applying, nothing has changed and things have gotten better. This is a person who is actively in sexual programming. So for those reasons, we are respectfully requesting that her conditions of release remain the same. Because again, nothing's gotten worse, it's gotten even better. It's become better because of everything that she has done to try to do whatever she can to make this situation better, not only legally, as well as to admit guilt for purposes of the victims, hopefully to have some type of closure in this case, as well as for her. Thank you, Your Honor.
And when the judge handed down his decision about bond, that is when Bergman broke down.
Let me guess. They denied that shit. Well, too damn bad. If that would have happened.
Exercise my discretion to order that she be remanded into the custody of the St. Croix County Sheriff. Bond is going to be revoked.
I told you.
And we will await the 75 days or so to get the PSI completed and find out what the ultimate outcome here is in terms of sentencing. But balancing all the factors, I think that's the most appropriate decision, proper exercise of my discretion here today. Now, is there anything else from the state's point of view
That's what I'm talking about.
to address today?
Not today, Your Honor.
Mr. Tamburino?
Nothing else, Your Honor.
All right. Then I will see you at the sentencing hearing, and we are adjourned.
The judge was like, nice try, Mr. Attorney. Judge like, nice job, attorney.
Bergman continued sobbing as she was put into handcuffs and taken into custody. So to recap real quick, Bergman entered a guilty plea to child enticement, sexual contact with the sex offender modifier, counts 6 and 8, sexual misconduct by school staff. Now the other 7 counts were dismissed, but they were read in for the purposes of sentencing, which means the judge can consider the conduct, the allegations behind those charges when it comes to how long Bergman will spend in prison. And since the court revoked Bergman's bond, she is now in the custody of the St. Croix County Sheriff's Office until her sentencing, which is scheduled to happen just before Christmas, December 22nd, 2025. And according to prosecutors, they appear to be just before.
Wait, how long?
And since the court revoked Bergman's bond, she is now in the custody of the St. Croix County Sheriff's Office until her sentencing, which is scheduled to happen just before Christmas, December 22nd, 2025. And according to prosecutors, they appear to be requesting up to 12 years in prison for this woman. Now,
if you want to see it all, you need a car that can go the distance. The Subaru Forester Hybrid.
As we have reported previously on Sidebar, Bergman isn't the only teacher at that same school that has been charged with sexual misconduct. That's right. Abigail Faust is accused of not only allegedly knowing about what Bergman was up to, but also having her own inappropriate contact with a student. So the 24-year-old was charged in St. Croix County with failure to protect a child.
24? She look a little older than me. Ain't no way. She look like she's a little bit older than me. 24?
Causing mental harm to a child, child enticement, and sexual misconduct by school staff or a volunteer. Now, here's the next part of the story. As news of those charges spread, you have a family in nearby Washington County, Minnesota, so it's just across the border. They realized that was their nanny. Yeah, this family had apparently hired Faust back in 2021 to help watch their children, reportedly a baby who was just a few months old, a young girl, and then this boy who was 15 years old when he claims that Faust started sexually abusing him. When the family realized that Faust was being accused of disturbing conduct with minors, they contacted police. This teen's son, identified in the filings as victim 1, sat down with an investigator, a detective, for a forensic interview, and I will tell you, just divulged sickening details. Faust's criminal complaint reads, I asked victim 1 how he was generally feeling since the initial report of sexual abuse was made. He stated, kind of gross, that he felt manipulated, and that he felt kind of used. Victim 1 became emotional, and I could see tears well up in his eyes. Now, he claims that Faust almost became like a member of the family, claims that what started as sharing inappropriate photos eventually led to more, and that the teen allegedly engaged in sexual intercourse with Faust. Now, here's the thing. According to prosecutors, Faust also allegedly engaged in sexual misconduct with victim 1's friend. Yeah, victim 2 also apparently came over, spoke with police, and confirmed that there was this sexual relationship with Faust. Now, something to note here, because some of the alleged contact between the teens and Faust happened in Wisconsin, Faust now faces 13 felony charges there, and we believe a preliminary hearing is scheduled for October, when the judge, of course, will decide if there's enough evidence for the case to go to trial. And according to Wisconsin court records, it appears that Faust's parents posted her bail, that she has to wear a GPS monitor, that she's been ordered not to leave her house. She's also been told she can't use the internet unless it's related to a virtual court hearing, meeting with her attorneys, or telehealth appointments. So, and that is all we have for you right now.
That's an evil world we live in. A lot of perverts out there be doing some nasty shit that they have no business doing when it comes to children and kids when it comes to children being involved and whatnot. That shit is sick. Nasty world we live in. Like, how do people? How you get off with just doing that to specific kids like that? Not just specific, but just every single one of the kids that's underage. That shit is nasty as hell. What do these people get off at? That shit is trifling.
Here on Sidebar, everybody, thank you so much for joining us, and as always,
yeah, no problem. That shit was nasty. I had no words. I know this has been going on for a long time, but that shit is just disgusting. You do that shit to a minor. That's not even developing yet, physically, and you still ended up using that just to get a piece of me. Like, whatever happened to dating someone that is of age and within your own peers and within your own age gap, or just date somebody that's of age regardless. Age ain't nothing but a number, unless people is of age and whatnot. If people are underage, yeah, that's unacceptable. That right there is 100% off limits. You can run, you can hide, you can bite, you can bark, but at the end of the day, you cannot escape from the dark. This world is hell, so what can you do? Positive power and protest is not enough to eliminate the wickedness that's cruel. Like robbing hardworking folks for their money and killing innocent people with the lack of accountability. Corrupt cops locking a black person up for a small crime, but let a white person off for the murderous crimes for show. Difficult situations is hard, but life is a lot harder. Experiencing both, it may be tough. Evil people's out to do evil things. It's best for you to mind yours and stay in your lane. But yo.